Get her going here. And those of you who have attended some of my boot camps and or trainings, this is going to be a repeat for you, but I think it's an excellent. This is what you're getting ready to experience here, or we're going to go through. This is an excellent investor mindset training exercise. Okay. And so many of us, okay, you know, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I trust you weren't either. And we were raised, okay, how about this? Weren't you raised with this kind of mindset? Okay, pay for everything as you go, okay? Stay away from credit cards, son, because they'll get you in trouble. They're bad, okay? Credit cards are bad. Stay away from them. Don't use that. They just get you in trouble. Avoid borrowing money, okay? Avoid borrowing money. You borrow money and you're just going to make your life miserable and you're going to end up having to file bankruptcy, and it's horrible, horrible, horrible. Never, ever pay interest. Avoid paying interest. And if you do have to borrow money, like for a home loan or something, get the lowest rate possible. Now, when I bought my first house, my first home back around 78, maybe 1978 or so. And I assumed, back then it was legal, but I assumed a VA loan. Now, I'm going to guess that my interest rate was probably in the neighborhood of 7.5%, something like that. Well, the next house that I bought, okay, and that was just a couple of years later, the next house I bought it, and I again assumed a VA loan. But this was back during the Carter administration. And do you know what the prime rate was back then? Okay. The prime, like on a home loan, the home loan was like 21%. 21%. I was able, on my second home that I bought, okay, I got that at 12% fixed. Now, they really didn't have adjustable rate loans. They didn't. If they did, I didn't know about it. But I got a 12% fixed rate loan, and I was thrilled to death to get 12% fixed when everybody else was paying anywhere from 18 to 21% to get a new home loan. That's outrageous. I just imagine that in today's world. Like my daughters, okay, one of my daughters got a loan at like 2.7 or 2.75% fixed on their home. 2.75% fixed. And it blows my mind, but for some reason, because they listen to friends and peers and outlaws and in-laws and all this and that, they're in this struggle mentally to pay it off fast so they can save interest. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm going to expand on this in just a little bit. Okay. And I talk about how you should, let's say, re-educate ourselves. Okay. Re-educate ourselves. And, okay. And we can use this lesson to train our kids, grandkids, anybody that you want. Okay. And I'm going to talk about this saving interest myth. Okay. And this is a myth. And we're going to enhance this by doing this exercise right here. Will you do the deal? Okay. Now, also at the end of this, I'm going to do a short Q&A. So if you got questions, just fire them in on that little question control panel that you have. Okay. And I'm just looking to make sure everything is set up and going, and AJ can hear me. I got Alan Tatum in the house. He must be down in Florida again. Cool. Okay. So this is going to be good, guys. You're going to like this. So for starters, let's jump right into this exercise here. So we've got a little house here. Okay. And this is a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and it's 1 story in what we call locally a brick ranch. Now up there in Chicagoland, they have a 2 lumpy and a 3 lumpy and a 2 flat and a 3 flat. And that's all different language and slang, okay, for us and the rest of the world. But anyway, so you got a brick ranch here. It's owner occupied, and just for training purposes, let's say that it's worth $100,000 and it's in great shape. Okay, not a rental property. It's not been beat up. It's been well maintained. Okay, it's owner occupied. You with me? Okay, 2 months ago, or let's say 3 months ago, this person who's in a financial pickle, the owner, calls you up and you go over there and you visit, okay, or gather your information because this owner wants to sell this house because he's in a financial pickle. And if he doesn't do something quick, either refinance it, sell it, or pay it off, he's facing foreclosure. So you do it 3 months ago and you can't work anything out. Okay. Now, where's this located? Okay, the location is awesome. Let's just say. Okay, it's great. It's in your area where you love to do buy and holds. Okay, you can drive down the street and you can't really tell the difference between a tenant occupied house and an owner occupied house. You with me? Now, if you live in Los Angeles, Chicago, New York City, or wherever everything's booming and super expensive, you're going to laugh at 100,000 and you're going to think, well, I can't even buy a wheelbarrow for 100,000, not in Los Angeles. Well, you're right. Okay. But that's not what this exercise is about. This exercise is about adjusting your mindset as an investor. Okay. Because the way that we were raised, most of us are raised in an environment that was like caveman. Okay. And so our parents brainwashed us, okay, into the things that I mentioned a few moments ago. So anyway, so 3 months ago, couldn't put a deal together, okay? Now, what is owed on this thing? He owes $40,000, okay? He owes $40,000 on this. And let's use today, okay, this is going to be, I'm going to close that over, bingo, and we'll pop. Okay, try to scoot myself over here a little bit. How's that? Okay, there we go. All right. So anyway, this fella calls you up, and now it's today, and it's Tuesday. Okay. Well, I tried to underline it, and I scratched the daggone thing out. Okay. So here it is. It is Tuesday at 12 noon. And you get a phone call, and the owner says, "Hey, Mr. Investor, you came out here 3 or 4 months ago and met with me when I wanted to sell my house, and you know what? You were the only person that treated me like a human being and not as a number. And I'll tell you what, this thing's going to auction, going to the courthouse auction, okay, Thursday at 2 p.m., like a day and a half away, right? Or 2 days away. And it's going to auction Thursday at 2 p.m. And you know what? You were so nice to me. I want you to get it instead of the bank. And because you were nice to me, I'm going to let you have it for what I owe on it, which is $40,000. And I'd rather see you get the deal or you get this, okay, than to see the bank get it, because I hate that bank. Okay. So now here's your challenge. Okay. You have 0 cash. Okay. Just play along with me. Don't sit there and say, well, you know, I can go this, I can do this, all this and that. This whole exercise is an investor mindset training exercise. You've got 0 cash. Okay. Now, here's the investor training mindset question. And here's the ground rules. Okay. First of all, you have no cash, 0 cash. You have no access to cash. You don't have a home equity line of credit. You don't have credit cards. You don't have a signature line of credit. You have 0, 0, 0 cash. Okay. You can't go run to mom and dad and borrow it. Okay. You can't go run to Uncle Bill and borrow it. Okay. You have no access to cash, period. Just put that in your brain for this training exercise. Okay. Now, you got to close tomorrow. if you want to capture this thing for 40,000, right? And get that paid off before the auction. I doubt that. Me personally, I'd rather get it closed on Wednesday tomorrow than try to do it Thursday morning and hope that the auction gets canceled. Okay, so let's do it tomorrow. You have zero cash. Now, you've got that. The only way you can do this deal, listen carefully, the only way to do this deal is to go to Uncle. I'm going to spell Uncle wrong just for fun. Uncle Guido. Okay? Sounds like a mafia guy, doesn't it? Okay? Go to Uncle Guido. And Uncle Guido, like Wimpy, says, I will gladly loan you $40,000 at, okay, 48% interest. Okay? 48% interest. What is your first mental knee-jerk reaction? Very first. Okay? When we hear that, 48%, isn't that outrageous? Okay? We've got a lot of folks on here. Now, I want to see over in your control panel, I want you to raise your hand if your first mental knee-jerk reaction, just be honest, was heck no, no way. Okay? And if that's what your first mental knee-jerk reaction was, go ahead and raise your hand on that. I want to see how many. Okay? I want you to learn here, okay? Wow, okay, so this is about what happens in a live training session, okay? So thank you for doing that. And you know what? That's still the very first thing that enters my head too, because of the way we've been conditioned in the caveman environment that we grew up as far as financial stuff, okay? Your financial education and expertise and all, financing, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try to lower everybody's hands now. Now, folks who said, yes, I'll do this deal at 48% interest, I want you to raise your hands. So the ones that said no, it's about a little over a third of everybody on the call. Now, who said they would do the deal? Raise your hand. And I'm looking. Okay. Wow, we got everybody. Yes. Okay. So now it's sorted everybody. And pretty interesting. Okay. So we had about 15% said yes. Okay. I could have done a poll, but I don't want to set it up. But anyway, so that's kind of fascinating, isn't it? So thanks for being honest. If you're honest with yourself, even most said no way. Why? Because of this 48% interest. It just sounds outrageous, doesn't it? Well, I picked 48% interest for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's outrageous, okay? And you admitted to that. You agree with that. Number two, it's easy for me to do this exercise to have you to learn and get and advance your investor mindset, okay? So let's take a look at what I'm talking about here, okay? So we've got this house. I'm going to go over here. It's worth $100,000. Okay, and it's in good shape. Doesn't need anything. Okay, and now you can buy it for $40,000, right? But Uncle Guido says you got to do it at 48% interest. So if you do it at 48% interest, remember I said I like that number because it's outrageous and it's easy for me to use this as an exercise. Well, if you take 48 and you divide that by 12 months, what's that equal? That equals 4% per month, okay? Now, to even make this simple, we're going to borrow how much? 40,000 is what Uncle Guido's going to loan us. And what is 1% of 40,000? That equals $400, right? So 4% would equal what? You with me? $1,600. Now, 4% is what? That is $1 month interest. Okay. Now I'm trying to make this Fred Flintstone simple. So in essence, ultimately, here's your real question. Okay. Would you buy this house for $41,600, gives you 30 days to do something? That makes it a little different, doesn't it? Would you buy this house for $41,600? Now, just a few moments ago, if you were honest with yourself, Uncle Guido would loan you the $40,000 at 48% interest, and our mental knee-jerk reaction, caveman reaction, is heck no, that's too expensive, that's outrageous. But yet, when we break it down, okay, 48% divided by 12 months equals 4% per month. Okay, to even break it down simpler, what's 1% of 40,000? The amount you're going to buy is $400. 4%, so 1 times 4, 400 times 4 is $1,600. That's 1 month of interest. So you can own this house and do whatever you want with it within 30 days, and it's the equivalent of buying it for $41,600. $1,600 is cheaper than a furnace. It's cheaper than air conditioning. It's cheaper than a new kitchen or a new bath. It's almost up there. You know, you could buy 2 water heaters maybe with it. Okay, so a roof. How much is a roof? $1,600 is chump change on to capture and do a deal like this. And how many times? And my point is this: how many times has maybe an opportunity or a deal like this surfaced and you passed on it because you didn't want to use? Now, don't take this the wrong way. Well, I don't want to have to pay, 12% interest. I mean, 12% interest be a cakewalk. 15% interest be a cakewalk, even if they got a few fees in it, okay? But what could you do with this within 30 days? Think about it. First of all, you're going to get rid of that foreclosure action. You're going to own that with just this much owed on it, okay? And I'm not trying to make it complicated. Let's just keep it Fred Flintstone simple. Don't talk about points and fees and appraisals and blah, 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 okay? Let's just keep it simple. But for $1,600, you can own it. You can control it for 30 days. Can you do this? Can you wholesale that? Okay, can you wholesale it? Yes or no? Yes. What would you wholesale it for? I'm going to see if I can't get somebody. AJ, you're in here. And
yes,
if you're
sir.
close to the microphone, could you wholesale this puppy?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if this thing,
I lost your sound, Mike. I can't hear you.
played with now, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, you're back.
1, 2, 3. Okay. That's another. Thank you for letting me know about that. I tried to turn the volume up so I could hear you better. So what would you wholesale it to another investor, a cash buyer for?
I could
AJ?
get probably at least 5, maybe 10,000 on that at that price with no repairs.
Yeah, with no repairs. Okay. You could help them out and even put a tenant in it, but you said 5 or 10,000.
Easily.
That would be a no-brainer. Okay, if this thing's in great shape, I would feel very comfortable wholesaling it at 61.6. I mean, on 100. I mean, holy cow, that's still 60%, and they don't have to do any repairs. You with me?
Yes, sir.
So I think that would move. Now, if it needed some repairs, just subtract the repairs. Okay. And I'm not talking about a major rehab, okay? I'm not talking about that at all, but subtract the repairs, and let's say it needs 5,000 in repairs. Well, then you could wholesale it to another investor and do, what's that, 56?
Yeah.
56.6. They'd buy that all day long. Okay?
Yep.
Now, I guarantee you could do 5 or 10,000 and that'd be gone in 30 seconds, okay? Because whoever you sold that to for 5 or 10,000, AJ, guess what they can do? You gave them the opportunity to wholesale it as well.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if you got a 30-day window to take action on this thing, what is item number 2? And I know that you know about this. Could you wholesale it?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the crack holes down in the corner. I'm talking about wholesaling real estate. Okay.
Right.
And so to wholesale it, it's in a decent neighborhood, right? Just
Correct.
simply take a Home Depot for sale by owner sign, put your phone number on there, email, whatever it is. And people who live in those neighborhoods, especially if it's an established neighborhood, they're nosy. They're not busy like me and you and investors are, okay? They twiddle their thumbs. They watch soap operas. They do this and that, okay? And those folks that are established, they have access to cash. So maybe they have a son or a daughter or a niece or a nephew or something like that wants a fixer-upper, okay? And a consumer fixer-upper is basically painting carpet or, if you got a blue bathroom or, some of these older homes. So you can wholesale it and get a lot higher price. And if I was going to wholesale that, I might even go for, now look at this, you could probably do $79.9. Now, how long would I try to do wholesale? I'd give it 2 weeks and pull the plug on it. If I can't move that first, and I would try this first, wholesale it first. If I can't move it at $79.9 in 2 weeks, well, then I'm going to immediately go over here if I want to and wholesale it to another investor. Okay?
Yep.
And then number 3 is simply refinance it. Okay? Refinance it and make it a rental for yourself. Wow. Okay, but Mike, I can't get it done in 30 days. Okay, double it. So now, what's 1,600 twice? That's 32, right?
Right.
Would you pay $43.2 to own that for 60 days, which gives you enough time to get the thing refied? That is still a killer deal. Can you see that, guys?
Yep.
Now, the point I want to make is none of these opportunities are available to you if you said no. Interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's weird. Do you need money to do this deal?
Not mine.
Could you go out and find somebody and say, hey, I'll pay you 48% interest to let me borrow $40,000 to do this deal?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, in a heartbeat, okay? But 48% is outrageous. Okay, so now let me see how I'm doing on time. We're at 12:30. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to save the next section because that's where I train my daughters. And my daughters get it, but their hubbies have a hard time with it, especially the one that's a vice president of a bank, okay? They want to make additional principal payments, and I tell you what, that's going to take a good 20 to 30 minutes to go through that and explain to another advanced investor mindset training exercise on what to do, and not only on your home, guys, but on all of your investment properties, okay? Because you need to maximize everything you do with your building your wealth with real estate. So I'm going to open it up for questions. If you got it, fire away. And AJ says, I cannot hear you. Okay, so I can hear you now. AJ, you sound good. So if you got a question, guys, fire away. I'm looking for it. Just bang it into your little question box on your control panel. And let's see. Okay. Gary or Lynn Jernigan, TO. Okay. Greg Seitz is in the house. Alan Tatum down in Florida with his new squeeze. Yes. He's getting married too. He's going to adopt all them babies. I can tell. Okay. And Mark Fuchs is in the house. Nobody has any questions. Did I do that good, AJ?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Why don't you give me okay, if you don't have a question for me, fire in something up there about an aha. Did this help you? Yes or no?
I
AJ,
think so.
give me an aha, AJ. What did it help you? How did it refresh your memory?
About the 48% interest. I didn't think about breaking it down to the smaller unit. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. K Con says, how do I find that deal? That's the rub the genie bottle, and everybody wants that stuff, Kay. I love it. Okay, Clayton Arton says, so would hard money lenders fall into this too? Absolutely, but I don't know any hard money lenders that are charging 48%, Clayton. Okay, me as a hard money lender, I do 15%. I mean, that is peanuts compared to 48%. Okay, so Jimmy says, I have a prospect. Asking price 180, ARV's 280. Okay, rehab 50, so that puts you at 230. But mold all over, will not pass appraisal from the bank. What could be my option for financing? Okay, you're asking me to Monday morning quarterback that, Jimmy, and I'll say this. Okay, you said mold all over. Now, does fixing the mold and curing the mold, is that part of your $50,000 rehab? If it is, that means you're going to have $230,000 in a $280,000 house. And that ARV, is that a conservative ARV? Is that a very aggressive ARV? We don't know. Okay. I would try, their asking price is 180. See if you can fire away. If they got mold all over, that thing is tainted. That thing has has been tattooed, something very, very ugly. Maybe you come in at and remember 48%, and a lot of people said, no way would I do the deal. If this thing has mold all over and it's got some kind of letter from somebody that tested it for mold and it's butt ugly, that thing's tainted. I would not be afraid to offer them 120, because keep in mind, as it sits, they cannot get any kind of first-time homebuyer loan. Nothing that is government backed, because it has the mold. So they need a cash buyer, and they want to liquidate it. They don't want to keep it on their books as a rule of thumb. So fire away and maybe do a 120. And you could find somebody to loan you 120 on that in a heartbeat. Okay, but good example there, Jimmy. I love it. Let me know what happens on that. Charles Soper, I have a duplex. I'm paying the water. Have the opportunity during the rehab to split it so tenants pay water. Would you split it? Heard that some water districts do property liens, so I'm hesitant. Well, you kind of answered your own question there, Charles. Why don't you check out with your water district and see if that's the case? And why would you want to pay? Okay, why would you want to pay to have that split, only to have them not pay the water bill, and then they put a lien on your property? And most of the times when they put the liens on the property, from what I've seen with other places around the country, they don't do that. They're not in a hurry, so they do it 3 or 4 months after the tenant's already gone. So that's ugly. So check that out first, okay? But I love your creative way of thinking, and it's a hard thing to do, to get the tenants. I just can't see spending money to split it up to have separate utilities or something like that. Maybe you could turn them into condos. I don't know. Okay, if you were to turn them into condos, yeah, split it and have separate water bills. Kent Pesho, you should do a webinar, hard money lending, sometime. I'm interested in doing that. Okay, yeah. If you'd like to see a session, a training on doing hard money lending, wow, I advise folks that do hard money lending too. Okay, so that's good. Jimmy says, would you go with this deal? Jimmy, you're asking me to make a decision on something that I don't have enough information on. Number one, I don't know where it's at or what. There's just too many variables, okay? Now, if you want to do this, Jimmy, go to MikeButler.com. Somewhere in there's a deal analysis review, or give our office a call at 502-7. Let me do this. I actually got what are good ways to find the Uncle Guidos? Okay, that's a good question there. Here's our office number, and I've got Dustin in there. He's answering the phones and working that now. He's going to be great. I really love his attitude and the results that he's getting. I'm going to send this to everybody if you need that. But if you want to do a deal analysis review, Jimmy, just call Dustin, and we'll get you set up for that and get you scheduled, okay? What are good ways to find the Uncle Guidos? Okay, one is in Cassandra out in California. She's asking that, and Uncle Guidos you want to avoid because they charge 48%. But hard money lenders, I would say this, Cassandra, in California, there's all kinds of RIA groups, and I hope that you're involved with a reputable RIA group. I can't remember what city that you're in. But hook up with a local RIA group, and I promise you, every RIA group has somebody in there that is a hard money lender, okay? You prefer private lenders because they're cheaper, okay? But for the short term, get you over the hump, get it put back in shape, and then do a refi or retail it or something like that. There's all kinds of private lenders that hang out at the RIA groups. The other thing is just go to their website. And if you go to their websites, Cassandra, you'll see sponsors or advertisers or something like that. And many times those are displayed on the website, and you'll see private lenders, hard money lenders, investor loans, something like that. And you can just go Googling with your little fingers right on your keyboard and find that. Prosperity Through Real Estate is your local group. Okay, that's with Robin and Steve Love. Great people. They're wonderful. And they will know some private lenders and hard money lenders if you just email them, contact them, call them. They're wonderful folks. I got to be out there a while back. Maybe that's when I met you. And then also they took us to dinner on the National RIA Cruise up in the super duper 6-star fancy steakhouse that's on the cruise ship on Royal Caribbean. So great folks. They can point you in the right direction to find not the Uncle Guidos, but his nephews that don't charge as much. Okay, so anybody else that has a question, fire away. If not, I'm going to pull the plug on this one here. You guys have a wonderful day, and get out there and make some offers and adjust that investor mindset to help you build your wealth with real estate, and to do it safely and quickly and retire in 3 to 5 years. Adios, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.